country, right? A little bit tough to shoot to Miami. But when you come into Miami, you got to come here. You got to stop by.
Yeah, exactly. But I will be there eventually. Probably at the beginning of next year. So then I'll come in person. But I prefer to do podcasts in person because they're a lot more...
They're more personable. Yeah, because you can sit down and you can get to know somebody and you can get to, just have a real conversation like humans should. Instead of the, Twitter fingers and all the bullshit and you don't know who's behind it,
Yeah.
I got to ask you this. Ready? I'm sorry.
Go on. Ask me anything you like.
All right. This is because me and Scott, we were just at, why in the world do you think Brady's wife went to divorce him right now in the beginning of the season? Do you think that's all because he came back and she wanted him to retire?
These people get divorced for all sorts of reasons. I don't know what it is. I can't. One, because it's America. So let me put it this way: one, it's because he lives in the United States. She lives in the United States, and they are subject to American divorce laws. So number one, because he was in America. Because if she was married to him, a man of equal success in, let's say, Nigeria or maybe Albania or Russia, it wouldn't be such a smart move. So the option's obviously there on the table. And the thing is with a lot of women in the West nowadays, and I don't know this woman. I don't even know her first name. I know who Tom Brady is, of course. I know who's going through a divorce. I couldn't pick her out in a crowd. The thing is with American women, and I try to avoid dating them for this reason, lots of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are very, very entitled. So she will genuinely believe that him going and playing football all day is somehow a negative reflection on how he sees her and how he sees the marriage. He doesn't spend enough time with me. He doesn't spend enough time with the kids, despite being the most famous and successful football player, basically, of all time, or certainly of the modern day and age. So that's the only answer I can give. She's divorcing him because she lives in the United States and because she can. It shouldn't be an option to cash out this rich based on another man's success. The fact that the woman who divorced Paul McCartney is still making money every time a Beatles song is played, despite having no part in writing songs, is mind-blowing.
Oh my gosh!
Because it's America is going to be my answer. I'm gonna.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, she makes more than him, so she makes more than him as a model.
Oh, I see. This is my point. I didn't know exactly who she was.
Yeah, she's Giselle. What's her last name? Giselle Bunchkin. She's like supermodel, so she's got more money than him. So I'm thinking...
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
I'm like, why would you divorce him 2 games into the season? Because what, he wanted to come back and go... he's played 24 years and he's throwing like he did when he was 20? And what, you're going to divorce him when you got 2 kids? And he has like the...
The reason a lot of these hyper-successful people get divorced is beyond me. So I assumed Tom Brady's wife was some cheerleader or some high school sweetheart that he met. As I said, I'm not into American football, so Tom Brady's one of a handful of players I could even mention. But the reason these high-level people get divorced always, when you dig into it, blows my mind. So I'd like to read a bit more into it. Like I recently heard about Linda Gates divorcing Bill Gates, of course.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine who's an autistic guy, an overthinker, sat there and went, yeah, well, with the Ghislaine Maxwell trial and her client list being leaked and, all the people who were on that island now having meetings and talking to each other about what they were doing, his wife probably realized what he was up to. Ooh, that's really deep. America, all these years, to all his successes, to all his stresses, and then suddenly once all the people who hung out on Jeffrey Epstein's island start panicking and having crisis meetings and the evidence against him is coming out, suddenly Linda Gates wants to divorce Bill Gates?
Oh.
Interesting one for me. So, but they took an autistic friend of mine to say that. I didn't actually think about it that much. So why is she divorcing him? I don't know. I don't know the guy. Maybe she's bored by him. Maybe football fans love him, and maybe when it comes to hanging around with him and going on dates in the bedroom, whatever, he's just not all that. I don't know what. I sympathize for him, and I hope in the great country of America, if she is in fact richer than him, I hope she has to pay him some money. But that's not going to happen.
No, right now it looks like it's going to go the other way. It looks like he's going to have to pay her $200,000 or 200 something crazy, 200 million, something nuts. But the best one,
even in a world where she's rich. So, and then again, I'll go back to my original answer.
Yep.
Because it's America.
You got it.
She wouldn't be doing it in other parts of the world.
And hey, how would you like to be Jeff Bezos, right? She gets what would she get? $400 billion. Then she goes and dates some guy who's 20. She thinks that 25-year-old guy. You know how long that lasted, Tristan? 2 months. Now, how can you be normal around that girl? How can you be normal around a girl that has $32 billion just sitting in play money, $32 billion, not to mention the other hundreds of billions? How can
What's sad for me is not about her jumping on some young guy's dick after leaving Jeff Bezos. What's sad for me is the fact that she is now renowned and well-known and famous for being one of the world's greatest philanthropists. Oh, she gave away this, she gave away that. She funded this charity. She gave money to this person. Well, it's very easy when you didn't have to make the money to give money away. It's very easy. When you're the way, if I divorced a woman and she started giving money to charities, etc., like, I'd be furious. I'd be pissed. And as the richest and one of the most powerful, non-politically connected men in the world, I don't know, Jeff. I'm not saying do something bad, but, you know, at least sue her. At least, I don't know.
Yeah, sue her because she's getting all the credit from your money, buddy. She's getting all the credit like she's Miss Perfect and it's his money.
He's the most philanthropic man alive because not only did he give some bimbo $400 billion, he also, $40 billion or whatever it is. He's also now not getting the credit for all the charity and all the stupid shit that it's funding. And that's his money that he earned.
But it all goes to her. All the credit goes to her.
Yeah, and I'll backtrack a little bit so as not to be misunderstood. When people marry before they're rich, before they're billionaires, I would say that a wife, if she's loving and supporting, is certainly an integral part of helping a man become successful. But I don't like the word teamwork, because teamwork implies that if this woman had teamed up with another man, he could be the world's richest man. No, she was very lucky and caught a very special individual. He was the special one. I'm sure she loved him and supported him and cared for him, and I'm not saying she didn't. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that she was a great wife who helped him along his career path. I'm saying Jeff Bezos could have married one of a billion women and had the same result, whereas she, marrying anyone else on the planet, bar Elon Musk, would not end up as rich as she was. So that's what I will say.
Now, do you think Elon actually goes through and ends up buying Twitter now that he says he's going to, even though China just threatened him? What do you think about that threat from China?
I really hope that he does. If he doesn't, then he's not the hero people think he is. When he started talking about, oh, well, lots of the accounts are bots and Twitter's not what I think it is and its value isn't actually that high, I thought, you know, is Elon actually a pussy? Because we all knew that Twitter was run by bots and the valuation was fake and it's not all real users and real people and real activity. Everyone knew that. But the idea of having fuck you money to go in and buy Twitter wasn't about the valuation of the actual company. So if it doesn't go through and he pulls the deal based on not thinking it's fair value, then he's nobody's hero. He's not the hero that the left, the extreme left or the extreme right or anybody who believes in free speech makes him out to be. You know, I've had some interesting thoughts on Elon Musk over the years. I've got nothing to say bad about him. I have nothing but admiration and respect for him. But you could tell he's wired a little bit differently from men like me. One, he's richer than me. I probably would have quit at my first 10 billion. So credit to him. Two, I don't think he's as creative with money. He's all about making money. He's not as creative with spending it as a lot of people are. I, for one, am building a castle, the first castle that's going to be built in Eastern Europe since 1919. I start construction this year. It's going to take me 4.5 years. Next to the historic castle of Dracula.
Congratulations.
Castle, for one. So that's going to be hilarious. And we'll talk more about that online and on podcasts as the construction work commences. But Elon Musk is different, you see, because he has a power nobody else has. He has the power to send things, anything he likes, into space. Now, if you give me that power, I'm not going to send some Tate merchandise into space. He sent his Tesla into space because he owns Tesla. I would send a giant statue of me wearing no pants saying Tristan owns space. Because who's going to take it down?
Nobody.
So Russia, government is going to go out of their way to take down the giant pantsless statue that now orbits the Earth. The answer is nobody. So you are actually king of space, and you sent a car. Like, bro, you're better at business than me. You're smarter than me, no doubt. But if you need some help on how to spend money more creatively, talk to your friend Tristan, Elon.
Actually, I agree with you because the car thing was funny. But if he would have done that, put himself up there, then it would have been more like, yeah, motherfucker, I got up here and you can't. You know what I mean? And
yeah, offends people, because then who would take it down? People would be petitioning NASA to take down his stupid joke of a statue.
when he was the one who was able to get up there, while we neglected NASA, while all the other countries kept working on it, and Russia owns the space station, basically. They control all of that. The thing that threw me off with Elon was when he went and bought that the Bitcoin. He went and put $2 billion in. You know, of course, it shot up and then took it out. I mean, good business move, but you know, you shoot it up, everybody goes in and buys it. To me, I mean, if you go in and buy it, that's your own personal decision and risk, right?
Yeah, but if you can influence whether other people make money or not, yeah, I mean, I certainly, so on a much, much, much smaller level than Elon, myself and my brother have been offered to back and become the face of a lot of crypto coins. Now, most crypto coins, besides Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, ones with really strong use cases, are essentially Ponzi schemes. They're pump and dumps. People get in, someone like me or my brother would create all the hype around this, say it's amazing, and then the people at the top would take their money out. And I could have made easy 20, 30, $50 million in these exchanges. I mean, the number of young men who believe in me and will put their money in is incalculable. However, I didn't do that because I have more money than the people who are going to believe in me and then lose money. And I would feel too bad if some kid put his last $200 in and that $200 became $20. That would break my heart.
And you would.
Power comes great responsibility. So you're right about if you can manipulate Bitcoin, if you can manipulate Ethereum, Dogecoin, certainly. Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility.
And very dangerous, too.
Yeah, and if I were Elon, I wouldn't at least publicly be seen making money in a way that costs other people money, especially when you're the world's richest man.
Me and you both.
What the fuck he wants, and I can't stop him. The space statue, maybe that's his version. You know, he can do whatever the fuck he likes, and you and me and anybody and all the other Bitcoin guys can't really stop him.
No, what are we going to do?
His dick statue.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his Elon space moment.
You're right, though. He is very odd. Like, he sold all his houses, like, out of nowhere. He sold all his houses and kept one. And can you believe he dated Amber Rose? What is it? She's like, she's got like a curse or something with this girl.
You know, these women, and when I say these women, I'm not talking about all women.
Right.
Say I'm a misogynist. I'm not. Loads of wonderful women exist. When I mean these women, I'm talking about the Amber Heards of the world.
Yeah, Amber Heards. I'm sorry, I said Amber Rose. Yeah.
The girls who, you know, their big break was a Harvey Weinstein picture, if you know what I'm saying. I don't understand how these women become so popular. Like, there was a story once where Robin Gibbons used to date Mike Tyson. After dating Mike Tyson, started dating Brad Pitt. And I'm like, whoa. You're Brad Pitt. You can find a 23-year-old country village girl who's nice and pure and cooks good meals and goes to church every Sunday. Why Mike Tyson's ex, though? Like, why? You're Will Smith. You're the most famous rapper/actor in the world. It's the early 90s. All right, Tupac Shakur's ex. Why?
Why,
though? I don't understand this. So, yeah, Elon, along with the rest of them, and I'm not saying don't date a woman who has a past as such, but people who are well known in Hollywood for, you know, in the clubs at the lower level, at the normie level, you call them table crawlers, you know? You buy them out champagne, they crawl over to your table. Hollywood's exactly like that, but it's white powder instead of champagne. I don't understand why anyone gives these women time of day. To be fair to Elon, from what I know, he basically kind of hit it and quit it. It wasn't really, he didn't love her up. I mean, Johnny Depp should know better, though.
Yeah, he should know better.
GQ's most handsome man of 2018 or something. Like, seriously, bro?
Every girl's house we would go to would have Johnny Depp on the wall. It was either Johnny Depp or Tom Cruise. They all loved him. He could have any broad he wants, and he goes with her. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
You know, a big thing.
Understand the mindset, because when I was a complete unknown, I was a millionaire. I was making money behind the scenes, etc. I attracted a very famous Romanian chick, and she was Romania's most famous woman. Essentially, she was married to some famous man, and I got my first taste of fame began about 5 years ago when she got caught cheating on her husband with me. Her name was Bianca Dragoșanu. If you Google her name, my name still comes up. It was a huge scandal internationally, nationally here in Romania and the Balkans, and that was my first taste of fame. And I realized that this girl was just, looking for some millionaire to cause a scandal with. I was a bit of a bad boy, a bit of a kickboxer. And it lasted less than 6 weeks because I don't like people who take drugs. I'll say that. Any kind of narcotic, I don't associate with them. The attitude of the women who do this, I think naturally is very bad. And she's a successful woman, and I'm not going to discredit her. She pulled the move that she wanted and used me essentially as, I guess, a pawn in her little game, which is fine. Helped me out in lots of ways. But now that I'm increasing in fame and increasing in wealth, and pretty much anybody besides the world's most famous actresses and singers will reply to my Instagram DMs, I don't go for those famous women. I don't go for those women who have been seen with, the other big guys, the exes of super famous dudes. I don't want that. I've never wanted that. If I bump into a girl, the last girl I dated, I bumped into her at a gas station, started talking to her. The nice, normal girl driving a little Fiat.
See, to me, that's the girl you want because she's not tainted. She's not the Lamborghini with 200,000 miles on it. By the way, why did they stop making the Gallardo? That was when I had 2 Gallardos. Do you know why they stopped? I know you have a ton of cars. Why did they stop making the Gallardo and made a Huracan?
Can I just say, before we even get into this, I'm super enjoying this conversation. I had no idea what kind of questions you were going to fire at me, but I'm fucking loving this. This is one of the best podcasts I've ever been.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Why did they stop making the Gallardo? I don't know, because they are timelessly beautiful.
I love those cars. I had the Spider and the regular one.
My biggest memory of the Gallardo, because I'm only 30. I'm 34, so I'm not young, but I'm not old. And when the Gallardo came out, I remember that Akon song. What was it called? Smack That.
Oh yeah.
My Lamborghini.
Yeah.
My first knowledge of the car. I just looked them up. I used to thought they were super cool. I never got into Gallardos because, full disclosure, by the time I was rich enough for a Lamborghini, they were selling Huracans. I was broke. I was completely I was not on supercar level when the Gallardo was a thing. But it's now gotten to the point where it's called a classic, and I think it deserves that status. It's one of the only cars of that era that I would buy and drive if it weren't. I mean, there's a few reliability issues, but again, every supercar of that era has them. I think Gallardo is absolutely wonderful. So you used to have 2?
I had the regular one, and then I bought the Spider. I had a 2011 Spider, and that was when they had changed the exhaust because I had the regular Gallardo, and you'd be in the car with a girl, and you couldn't even have a conversation. You'd be like, hey, how are you tonight, honey? And the exhaust was so loud naturally. Like, I don't like that. I like it when it's like a bike. Wah, wah, wah.
But sometimes, if you can't have a conversation with your passenger next to you, it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing if it shuts them up. Oh, yeah. I mean, let's just be honest.
I've got the Vanquish S Ultimate with the Aston upgraded exhaust. You put the roof down on that, you can't hear anybody. So sometimes, you got someone in your ear. I'm saying no names, talking kind of shit you don't want to hear. Who's this girl? Why is there lipstick in your... What? Sorry?
Yeah, it's the ones that you might as well rip your ear off. Everybody looks at you and your brother, and when I was going through the research, I think it's important we touch on this. You guys used to go to KFC and pull out food out of the trash can, sit and wait for people to leave their plates, fight for it. It's not like you guys just woke up and had all this everything. I think we should touch on that a little bit because when I see the interviews with you and your brother, nobody ever says, hey, look, they have all this stuff now, but these kids had a tough decision to make. Do you go into the life of crime? Or do you become an entrepreneur when you're that poor where you're getting food from KFC?
We could talk about that in depth.
Yes.
Yeah, to slightly correct the story, it was KFC, and I wouldn't eat out of the trash cans. KFC was the restaurant I chose because people would leave their buckets on the table. They buy chicken by the bucket, and they leave full pieces. So it was cold, it was discarded, and I used to collect the pieces from the table. That's the story. And I did that probably 10 or 12 times in my life. It was a very hard period for me. And yeah, the life of crime, if you Google a town called Luton, England, it has been voted 6 out of the last 10 years the worst place to live in England. Crime, insane, drugs, stabbings. There were lots of opportunities. I use that word very loosely for myself and my brother to go down the wrong road. We're 2 big, strong dudes. We could be useful for a lot of people trying to collect money, sell whatever they're trying to sell. And, it was never tempting because I didn't see any light at the end of that tunnel. I was in a fucking tunnel. I couldn't see the light, but I could see another dark tunnel on the way down. And from the vantage point of where I was, nothing looked cool. So what you have to understand is vantage points. There are dudes who live in a middle income household, you know, dad has a good job.
This episode is brought to you by Fiji. More than just water.
This is not just rock. It's ancient volcanic rock that filters tropical rain, giving it double the electrolytes and its signature soft, smooth taste. It's not just water. It's Fiji water.
This episode is brought to you by Let's Get Checked. I want to talk to you guys out there who are working out all the time but aren't seeing any results. Your commitment isn't the issue. You're going to the gym all the time, different body parts, everything else. Before you go and buy a new supplement, try a new diet, new routine, let's talk about your testosterone. Low testosterone can affect anyone at any age. And low testosterone will take away muscle mass and you'll gain body fat. So let's talk about today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. They're the worldwide leader at home testing kits. You order the testing kit, it's delivered right to your house, discreet packaging, next day delivery. You send it back. Once it arrives in the laboratory, your results will be available in 2 to 5 days on your secure online account. So, if you want to test your testosterone levels without leaving your home, visit trylgc.com/MSCS and use the code MSCS at checkout and get 30% off. The link is in the description at the top.
It was.
I think everybody should, I mean, this is like a fantasy land, but I think everybody should, for 1 month you're broke. 1 month you're rich, and then you go back to normal. Because then you have the feeling, and then you know, yeah, when you get the Lamborghini and the Bentley, that's still not going to make you happy. Yeah, it's nice to have, but everybody who's never had it thinks that if I have 20 million, if I have a Lambo, if I have the Bentley, I'm going to be happy. Well, you're not going to be happy. You just have cool cars and whatever else. But that's what people think if they haven't had it or they haven't gone through failure. And then you have the envy and trolls and haters or whatever that see you guys and they don't realize how you got to where you're at. So now when you're in that position, how do you stay so disciplined to not go down the drug way? I understand you saw like where that path was going to lead you, but then where did you guys go from there? I know you got into fighting, you're eating a lot of chicken from there to fight. How did you crawl out of that? So people that are watching, you know, you were there at that low point. What happened that you crawled out of that?
Well, we were always very, very ambitious. We knew that we wanted to make money because we knew it was the way out of our hometown. And man, fighting kept us to keep ourselves focused. We always had each other. So obviously not everyone is lucky enough to be born with a brother who's almost the same age as them, who shares your worldview. But what I'd say to young men, team up with people who are looking to get to the same places you're trying to get to via the same methods that you're trying to get there by. You know, myself and my brother, we run the War Room Network, of course. A lot of young men probably aren't ready for something like that yet. But inside of our Hustlers University program, people network and meet and talk and, you know, focus your attention, especially in this global age of the internet, around people who have the exact same vision as you. So me and my brother had the exact same vision. There was no universe I was going to come home and catch him doing cocaine. There was no world he was going to come home and catch me high on marijuana. It wasn't going to happen because we always checked up on each other. But sports as well, yeah, kickboxing kept us disciplined, kept us out of that. The example that my father led by, even living in the United States, I just thought, you know, my dad's going to find out I'm taking drugs. These kind of things like crossed through my head because I was offered drugs a million times. I was at parties where people do drugs. I will go to Luton today and hang out at parties with people I used to know where people are doing drugs everywhere and not in a classy way, like in a scumbag kind of way. And I can fit in there. It's cool. I'm still the same guy. But I just thought, fuck. If I start taking drugs, my dad will whoop my ass. And he's been dead 5.5, 6 years. And that's still one of the reasons.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
You know? Yeah, good parenting, I guess, is one of the reasons also. But, I mean, we made our first million. And we'd experimented with lots of things. We tried direct sales to sell advertising space. We had a level of success in that. Television advertising was the game. And we actually bought our first supercar on that money. It was an Aston Martin Vantage, or a really old one. It would look very old today, but it was still quite old when I bought it maybe 10 years ago. It cost us £60,000. I had a few miles on it, but it was still a very proud moment for two kids who came from nowhere. But I used the resources around me. Now, people come at me these days because they say that I made my first money with adult entertainment. Me and my brother ran webcam models. And it started with having a few girls broadcasting on webcams in various rooms in our house. And then the house became bigger. Then it became a studio. Then the studios became huge. Then we had our own website, and we became massive names in that industry. We're no longer involved in that in any way, shape, or form. But it was I used the resources around me. I come from a poor town. There are pretty girls who liked me, trusted me. I was empowering them to make money. They changed their lives. Some of them bought their first house, etc., even at young ages. You know, I knew all the tech side of it. I knew all the business side of it. And I essentially teamed up with a lot of young, beautiful women who are, I guess, a resource that I had available to me as a young, handsome kickboxer, but flat broke. And I used what I had around me in a completely legal way to make my first $1 million. So that was the big break for us financially. The TV advertising stuff made us a bit of money, but it didn't last. The internet became too popular. Television advertising died. And now the webcam industry is slowly dying as well because OnlyFans and stuff are killing it. But I've been out of the game for so long, it doesn't matter to me.
But that was kind of like the first time where you experienced real money was then when you did the OnlyFans thing with the girls, and that's how you did it. You found the whole, say, like in your neighborhood, bunch of pretty women, you're broke, but you're a good-looking kickboxer. Okay, I get a couple girls around, and boom, you start a business, and it works.
It did work, and the money I made, I mean, even at the peak of this business operating was about $3 million a year net profit, which is big.
Net, yeah.
But it's not super real money compared to where I'm at today. But it was the first time I ever felt rich. Because I remember the feeling, which I've now forgotten, I'm so numb to it, of my card always working. Maybe 3,000 pounds a week, you know, 12, 13, 15,000 pounds a month was coming into mine and my brother's accounts. And I remember just restaurant, this, new jacket, shoes, whatever. And I just remember, unless it was a car, my card always worked. And that was such an amazing feeling. It wore off eventually because you become numb to it. But yeah, the card always working was the first time I ever felt rich. I can't explain a feeling like it. You don't have to worry. You don't have to check the balance. You just use it. And that was an incredible feeling. But that was back when I was 24 and a half, maybe, so about 9.5 years ago. It's almost 10 years ago.
Congratulations on that. And you did it all legally, too. You know, congratulations.
No doubt. I paid my taxes.
Yeah.
For anyone, look, I've never been a guy, and I attack people, actually, who promote pornography. There are some big YouTubers who have porn stars, you know, they pay these little side men Tinder games, whatever, with a bunch of porn stars. They tell you, yep, that girl who's on my channel, subscribe to her OnlyFans, etc. I come at these people and I say, whoa, don't go pushing this on your young audience. And people always come at me, yeah, but you used to run webcam models. Yeah, so that's a very different thing. I'm a voice that young men listen to, and I'm a voice that young men follow. I ran my webcam models, and I tell people what I did to make money. I would much sooner tell men, if you have a lot of beautiful girlfriends, go out there and start yourself an OnlyFans management agency. But I will never push young men towards pornography. Especially working within the industry, I realized from some of the addicts and the clients that we accumulated how dangerous of a habit it can be for men. It's something that I've always spoken openly about. And people in my own industry, back when I used to work in it, would get very mad at me for this. Because they're like, oh, you're scaring the customers away. Good. Young men shouldn't be indulging in this.
No, because then you expect that. You know, you finally do meet a girl, and then you expect that. You know, but you don't. Yeah. But you know, you don't realize this is a show that's being put on for you, and then you go meet a girl or you date a girl, and she's not going to be the porn girl. She's not going to be the OnlyFans girl that went into porn. This is an act. You know, and that messes up a lot of guys because then they expect that.
It does, and the biggest way that I know that not even porn, live interaction with models online, be it OnlyFans now, today, or webcamming back when I was in the business, or phone sex before that, whatever it was, the way that this has messed up men is, and trust me on this, because I've seen it with my own eyes, the way it's messed up men is, what they don't understand is that the people behind all of these businesses, all the OnlyFans girls who are very popular today, don't work for themselves. They're not sitting there replying to dudes' messages. Sorry, guys, spoiler alert. There are teams, usually male teams, gay men or men, working behind the scenes replying to all those messages.
Tristan, you're raining on all these guys' parades. You're raining on the parade. You took away the Kool-Aid smile.
Try to wake them up. So what it does is the men are replying to your messages. So men who interact with women all across these platforms, webcamming, OnlyFans, they equate female psychology with male psychology. So they think, oh, there's a girl I like on Instagram. Let me send her a picture of my dick, even though she doesn't know who I am. I'm not saying like your girlfriend won't ever ask for a picture of your dick. That's very different. But like unsolicited picture of your shaft in the inbox, that will make her like me. It worked on OnlyFans. The webcam girls love looking at it. No, you're talking to men the whole time. It's a big scam. Because you're talking to men, you now think that the real girls are going to interact like the people on the webcams and the OnlyFans platforms. You're wrong. So that's the damage that it's doing. That is the damage that it's doing. And to be fair, I don't even teach young men how to do this. I openly speak against the industry because I know it's bad for men. At the same time, I currently own casinos, and I am fully aware that becoming a gambler, in terms of a gambling addict, is very bad for men also. But I run the casino business. I still run the casino business. I do not apologize for running it, nor do I apologize for having run my OnlyFans girls all these years ago. Everyone is in control of themselves. And I will tell you right now, do not become a gambling addict. And I'll tell you right now, do not become an alcoholic. Do not smoke more than 5 cigars a week. These are bad for you. You know, I'm happy to...
As I sit here with the Juul... As I sit here with the Juul vape, puffing it.
Yeah, well...
Whatever.
Well, you know, I wasn't a big vape fan, but the Ignite vapes that Dan makes are pretty good. He sent me a few, so I appreciate those.
I got hooked on them. When they... out here in Florida, they wouldn't allow you to smoke inside anymore. So then me and my buddy, we opened up a bar. So then we had a bar, and then half was bar, and then half was vapes. So then you could go into the bar, you could get your beer and wine or your shot of liquor, and then you can't smoke inside, but you could walk 2 feet to the left, and you could buy vapes for me. And then we ended up buying a warehouse and got everything in wholesale, opened up 5 of them. And then the U.S., of course, said, or the... like the Marlboros and the Newports and all them, they came down and said, whoa, these vape guys are starting to really put a dent in our profits. All wholesalers are now going to have to pay a 22% tax on everything. So when I saw that come through, we sold all 5 bars and the warehouse and ran. Yeah, because we got like a 90-day notice that, you know, in the following quarter, if you're a wholesaler, everything goes up 22%. So then I would have to up it, then the retail store has to up it, and then the person coming in who supposedly vaping is going to make them quit smoking, well, now it's $50 to get a thing of liquid to vape. What are you going to do? I'm not spending $50. I'll just go back and get my 5 packs of Marlboro Reds a day, you know?
No, you're right. You're right.
Now, talk.
I luckily live in a country where you can smoke. Technically, it's European Union. I don't want to tell on Romania here, but because it's the European Union, technically smoking is banned indoors. Technically. The Romanians don't. It's hard to, when you have a country where everyone smokes. The police smoke, the politicians smoke, the club owners smoke, the security smoke, everyone, and you get cold winters. No one's gonna fucking empty the club and make everyone stand outside in the
hell no.
So people smoke here. People smoke here.
And
depends on who you are. If a random tourist walks in and lights up a cigarette at a dinner table, they'll tell you to put it out. But if you're me, you can smoke anywhere.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can. Now, I'm sorry to hear about your father, but how smart was your father? Whew.
Incredibly smart. So smart, it made him unlikable. He didn't have very many friends in his life. Myself and my brother were two of the only people he spoke to towards the end of his life. He was very intense, very hard to be around. But you got to take the good with the bad. He was also a hyper intelligent individual. Hyper intelligent.
How do you learn Russian in 2.5 weeks? 2.5 weeks you learned Russian? Is that true?
I've been in Romania 7 years, and my Romanian's still sketchy. So
2.5 weeks Russian.
I can't describe his intelligence in words because I'm not smart enough to describe it. Myself and my brother are very intelligent people. We're intelligent enough to take a fraction of my father's intelligence that God gifted us with and become multi-millionaires, which is great. But I can't play world level chess. I can't master a language in 2 weeks. I can't do a lot of the things that he did.
Wasn't he in the kitchen and he would yell out and he could almost see the chessboard in his head and know what move you're going to make or your brother, and he'd say, hey, move my chess piece?
Wow. Yeah, we'd sit staring at the board and he'd just read out the coordinates and then move his pieces that way and defeat us every time. And he wasn't the kind of dad who would let you win once or twice to try and get your spirits up. His whole life, I never beat him at chess once. Never. It was never going to happen. He could have lived another 100 years, and I never would have beaten him.
So he's never going to be that guy who's going to be like, all right, Tristan, I'm going to let you win this little one. No, you're never going to beat that man.
And
that's good.
Ego, and it's not about his chess ego. That's who he was as a parent. There were no participation trophies in my house.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
The guy he was.
Well, those participation trophies are ruining the United States. Everybody gets a trophy. You know, my other engineer, both his sons are in football. So now what's the point of going to practice every day and every night when if you win and you break your balls, you're the one practicing till, 10, 11 o'clock at night, getting up for school, then you go, oh, the whole team gets a trophy so everybody feels, that they're equal. That's just insane. Now, how can you progress in anything when you're doing that across the board? Because then what is the point of anything? Do you understand what I mean? What is the point of working hard if everybody's going to be equal and then the hard worker doesn't get incentive?
Communism, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking communism.
Yeah, it's trying to take communist ideals which do not work in the real world and cannot be implemented fairly in the real world and implement them. And they do work in schools. Here's the thing. Everyone gets an A, grade averages, everyone gets a trophy. Here's the thing, it works in school, but if you are a young man listening to this, let me tell you, it will not translate well to the real world.
It will ruin you.
It's player versus player. There are only so many Lamborghini Galados, and this guy had 2. There are only so many McLarens, and I've got 2 McLarens. There's only so many resources, so much money, so many beautiful women. There's only so many man hours to make fine tailored suits. And if you aren't the man who could get them, you're the man who can't get them. And this participation trophy shit does not work in the real world. And you'll leave school with this mindset that it's all going to be okay, but it's not. Not everyone gets a Rolls Royce. You've got to go out and earn that. So, if your school is brainwashing you with this stuff, next time they try to hand you a participation trophy, tell them no. Say, you know what? I lost. I do not want this trophy. Please give it to the winners. They can have 2. I own my defeat, and I'm going to do better next time. I want young men to do that. Please tag me on Instagram, Talisman Tate. Let me know that you've done it. I'll give you a shout out. That would be super cool to hear somebody do. Because participation trophies and medals are the biggest crock of shit that exists. In the United States, sorry, it's you guys.
No, I know. I agree with you 100%. And I've probably brought this up 50 times, and that was the best reply I ever heard. If you get a trophy, give it back. Give it back and say, no, I don't deserve this. I wasn't the best. You're right. That's a great message, man.
And try harder next time. Try harder next time. And if you have friends who are on the losing team, encourage them to do the same when you beat them.
That's right. And then that way, whatever their prerogative or agenda is, it doesn't work anymore. And then you get back to where you have real successful people working hard to achieve goals, and those who do get rewarded for their work and dedication, which isn't happening right now.
Of course, because I'm very aware if I embark on a new business venture, which I'm doing right now on a few, I'm very aware that if it fucks up, I'm in the whole millions of dollars and no one's going to save me. No one's going to give me my money back. No one's going to say, well, take this successful company because you fucked up. You could just run this one. That's not how the world works. And most people do know that. But the problem is with education is by definition, bringing the young people up to the progress that humanity has made so far. And this, when you start introducing very, very new ideas, like the losers get to celebrate along with the winners, that I don't think that's ever been a part of human culture for as long as we have been educating youngsters from ancient Greece to today. So when you start introducing radical new ideas, you're now not bringing the youth up to speed anymore. You're introducing something new. You're experimenting with a generation of children who then have to become the young adults who run the world one day. And, I pray to God that it works out okay, but I don't feel that we're heading in the right direction, certainly. No.
Me neither. When did you notice this whole bullying thing? I don't know what is this called. I don't even know what these movements are called. Scott, are they called Me Too movements? Whatever they call, whatever this movement's called. Where if you, there's so many of these names. I don't know what the fuck they are. Yeah. But when did you notice that if I say to Scott, you're a jerk off. And Scott says back to me, Tommy, you're a jerk off. Okay, let's go have dinner, Scott. Let's have a good time. Oh, Scott, you bullied me. Mommy, cops, let me call the cops. When did you notice this bullying shit, which then led to the trophy thing and everything else? I think, in my opinion, that's kind of where it started with this bullying bullshit. And to me, I think it's a huge problem because if you don't have any fear, if there's no fear, I like Nicolaus Machiavelli. I think that's a great book. And he says very clear in it, if I had to choose to be loved or feared, I'd love to be loved if that worked, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I believe this began with, and this is an opinion completely unique to me. Maybe nobody agrees with me. This is just something that I think, because I've thought about these things a lot. And I believe this began with the decline of the general health of the American population. And you obviously keep yourself in good shape yourself, but the average American, when I walk around American cities, looks nothing like the average Eastern European, certainly. The weight problems people have, I've lived here 7 years, I've never seen a single person using any kind of motorized mobility technology who wasn't disabled. Like, they just ate themselves to the point where they have to do this. And with the decline of American health, it's like the example I said about Romanians, how they all smoke, so everyone is just in on with the smoking. In America, the health became so bad and everybody became so fat and everybody has a family member who's morbidly obese and everyone has related to someone or friends with someone who gave themselves diabetes, quite literally ate themselves into now having diabetes. And the American healthcare system obviously profits massively from this. I don't think that they wanted to shut the people up who said, what's going on with my country? Why is everyone so out of shape? Look at pictures of the beach from the 1950s and the 1960s and pictures on the beach today. It's all gone wrong with health. And that, I think, was the catalyst to this participation trophy bullshit. If you're no longer allowed to call somebody out and say, you are physically inferior to me due to the choices that you have made in life. This isn't some racial superiority program where, you know, I'd say, oh, I'm mixed race and I'm British, and so that means I'm better than you. No, it's not about genetic superiority. It's about I am superior to you, literally, because you decided to eat yourself to the point where you can no longer walk. And so many people are in on this unhealthy lifestyle in the United States that it became disagreeable and unlikable to tell people the harsh truth that you are killing yourselves. You're shortening your lifespan by 25 years. You might know your kids, but you're never going to meet your fucking grandkids because you have poisoned yourself. And the decline of American health was the beginning of this participation trophy bullshit. Because now I have to pretend when I'm at school with the big fat kid at school, I'm not allowed to call him fat. I'm not allowed to say he's done anything wrong or that his parents have done anything wrong. I have to just accept that that's the way he is and this is the way I am. Well, no, that's not true, is it? Because if you put us both in the same household, raised by the same parents, with the same strict-ish normal regime of go outside and play sports and don't eat cake every day, we'd both be equal. Because we'd both be equal to our full potential. We'd be living our full potential as humans. So it began with the decline of health.
I agree. I never thought of it that way. I never thought about that, but you're right.
It's not the jacked, in shape, muscular who do well and train. It's the fat kids. The fat kids lose the sports game. Let's not make the fat kids feel bad. It's your trophy.
So in other words, basically what happened is too many people got too fat, didn't give a shit, didn't take care of themselves. So then what happened was you have the majority of people looking like shit, not taking care of themselves, you know, like nut huggers at nighttime with the, those blue and white Hanes or the blue and yellow Hanes with the nut huggers and the Budweiser and the cigarette hanging out of their mouth, but they got a fucking trophy. But nobody took care of themselves. So now you have all these overweight people that are completely not healthy, that don't work out. So then because they don't, the one guy that does, that smashes everybody, now he goes around and says, hey, you fat fuck, hey, you loser, what are you doing, playing your video game for the 100th time? Now everybody's playing video game. Yep, dude, I think that
winners.
I think you hit it right on the head, and I think that's 100% when it started. Damn.
Yeah, which is
why didn't I think of that, Tristan?
I see things from a very unique perspective because I live here in Eastern Europe where participation trophies don't exist. You know what else doesn't exist? Fat children. Overweight, morbidly obese children do not exist in the country I live in. And I will openly say I've never fucking seen one. They might exist somewhere. One child in this country, God help him, may have a genuine medical problem and may have something wrong with his thyroid or something. And that, I'm sure that shit can happen. But you don't see big fat kids walking around. You don't. So no participation trophies.
Yep.
So I like that.
Beautiful.
I like that about the East. about Eastern Europe. Yeah.
I'll tell you something that coincides with what you said. A friend of mine, Vinny, he opened up a store called iSnacks. And what he did was he got food in from every country, China, Holland, Sweden, Australia, and America.
Yeah.
So he came on the podcast because I thought it was interesting, you know, the different flavors and whatever else. If you drink a Coke from the United States, Coca-Cola, and then a Coca-Cola from China, night and day. If you eat a Dorito from the United States, a Dorito from China, night and day. But the biggest thing, and I already knew, the killer is the expiration date. In the United States, the expiration date might be a year more, a year and a half. In all of the other countries, all of them, the expiration date's on a soda, 3 months, 6 months. So there's not all those preservatives. Here, we're so egotistic and money hungry, we'll dump in cancer-causing, you know, baby defects, anything to make something last longer so that they can make more money. And in my opinion, that's leads into why everybody's overweight. They don't take care of themselves, so on and so forth. Because the other countries, they take care of their people.
And then the Americans will say stupid things. Stupid things like, oh, it costs so much money to eat healthy. It's because we're poor we have to eat this cheap food. Sorry. I live in Romania. You can Google the GDP per capita in this country. No one has health problems. But also, it's not just that. And this is a very controversial topic that I'll bring up as well. It's young women and men, because men do their share of the housekeeping and the chores nowadays. I'm not going to pin this on women. It's the young people's, young married couples, young parents' inability to effectively run a household. And when you're ineffective at running a household and you've got your mid-income, it's Uber Eats every day. So who's preparing your family's food? Who knows? Some guy in some kitchen down at the local Chipotle fucking restaurant.
Miserable as hell.
Like this.
Hates his job.
Yeah, exactly. My mother was broke as fuck, living on about 350 pounds a month in a government-assisted fucking homeless shelter, then a housing unit. And we had 3 meals a day, and we were in perfectly good health. I meant vegetables, salad, fucking a mix of meat and carbohydrates, porridge for breakfast, fruit all the time, because she knew how to run a household. I think people now don't know how to run a household to the point where they will neglect their child's nutrition and what they put into their children's body, and they'll trust Uber Eats with that more than they are comfortable trusting themselves because they don't know how to prepare a square meal. And it's very sad. And I say this all the time. In England, there's an epidemic in my home country of England where more families than ever are relying on food banks, which are food charities where you can go and get free groceries and you get like allocated free groceries per month. And I say it's nothing to do with the economic state of Britain. The economic state of Britain is much better than it was in the 50s when they were still cleaning up debris from fucking the bombings of World War II. But in the 50s, when everything was broken, you were still rationing. Every single child grew up with meals on their own. Okay, not every single child. That's a stretch. But families largely grew up with eating 3 square meals a day because women knew, at the time it was women, how to prepare meals, how to cook, and how to provide for their families. So that the health downfall of America is not just in what they put in the food, because you obviously choose not to eat that crap.
I don't eat that shit.
Has that choice. Everyone has that choice, and the young parents who feed their kids have that choice too. So no, it's not just what they're putting in the food, because supply and demand is how capitalism works. I encourage a company, if you think you can make more money, to put poison in your food, whatever. I'm not going to buy it. And if everyone was as switched on as me, nobody would buy it, and you'd have to change your recipe. It's exactly what I said about the gambling. It's exactly what I said about the OnlyFans and the webcamming. It's personal responsibility. These food companies are not at fault for putting that crap out there. Just like the casino owner isn't at fault for the gambling addict who's going to lose his family's life savings. He's providing a service, and he's providing a service as best as he can to maximize his profits. And in this fair society of capitalism, anyone can choose to do whatever they like, and they make these choices for themselves. So without sounding too cruel, fuck them. Take your participation trophies, eat your Skittles, and let's see how well that translates to you being an adult. But if you listen to you and people like me on YouTube, hopefully you'll wake up. I want 16, 17-year-old boys living at home. Maybe you're a bit chunky, a bit overweight. Instead of going to the gym all the time and sending me those selfies, which I do appreciate, by the way, why don't you go to your mother and your father and say, hey, guys, I think we should make some changes as a family. I think we should make some positive changes as a family on what we eat. You know, you're doing the cooking every day, Dad, or you're doing the cooking every day, Mom. Why don't we try to include more vegetables? Why don't we try to exclude more of this? I would fucking love to see young people doing that after listening to this interview. So please do.
And a lot of it here in the U.S. is the parents. It's how they're raising their children. So then you want to look at a female or a male and say, oh, he's a drug addict or he's poisoned or whatever. Well, why did he do that? Where was his parents? You know, they had 18 years with him, 16 years. Look at you. You were afraid of your dad. You said, shit, my dad will kill me. I can't do that.
I'm afraid of him now.
Yeah.
Find a way. Let's put a marijuana spliff or a cocaine line up my nose. He'll find a way to beat me up now, and he's long.
He'll put some voodoo shit on your ass. He'll voodoo your shit. He'll voodoo you from the seventh dimension or wherever the fuck.
He meant it. When he said, don't ever let me catch you taking drugs, boy, he meant it.
That's how my grandfather was. My grandfather was the same way. When I would play foot, and this is what's missing like this. I used to live in Pennsylvania, freezing cold. When it was -2, I'm 13, 14 years old, outside in a wife beater, 100 catches in the snow. We're not going in. My mom, from Italy would come out. You're going to kill him. You're going to kill him. But when it was summer, 3 sweatshirts on, 3 sweatpants, catch 100 balls. Now, when I went to play football and all these guys had these heat warmer things, I just been doing this for the last 3 years and -2 with no gloves. And I couldn't go in until I caught 100. So while they're all trying to warm up their hands and worried about the heat and the cold, it was nothing because I had a good grandfather that made me a tough man. And that the benefit that I had from that hell, was unbelievable.
And somehow you end up as the guy with 2 Lamborghinis back in 10 years. So, I wonder why. Surprise, must be luck.
No, I think just like you, I didn't get shit. It didn't matter. I thought my mom, my mom passed away about 9 months ago. That was the hardest thing for me. Thank you, I appreciate it. And she was one of those women till the day she passed away. I thought she had maybe 25 grand, but little did I know after she passed and what she left. For 78 years, this woman, honest to God, you would think, shops on QVC, Home Shopping Network, going for the deals at whatever the dollar store was the thing. Meanwhile, this woman's got a fucking cash cow in the bank, and you would never know and never let me know and never got me anything but lawyers. That was when the money came out with lawyers.
European stereotype Italians as being cheap in that way.
Yeah.
Money. That's a very Italian stereotype here in Europe. So I don't know what it's like in the United States.
It's pretty damn true. It's pretty damn true. They're cheap and they save until they die. And then they gossip about it forever. With all the success that you've had financially and within yourself, if I gave you the keys and you can take care of the United States and the inflation issue, what are some of the first things you would do to get our interest rates down, get the inflation under control, and get it back where we're not getting killed? Because look how successful you are. So I think you're a great person to ask this question.
I'm enjoying this podcast so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I am too as well.
I'm going to talk politics. As a rule, don't talk politics.
I
won't do it.
I agree, but I mean just what you would do if you looked at it as a business, what you would do.
I'm president of the United States. There's no shadow cabal secretly running the country, and I'm actually powerful, and I can do what I like.
Right. Yeah, we're in a dream world. Remember.
Yeah, no, the complete dream. I'm no longer an American citizen, so that I can never become the president of the United States. But what I would say is this. I think the number one most important thing, and we're seeing this now in Europe with what's happening with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline being sabotaged. We're seeing this in Europe with the energy squeeze and the energy crisis. Mm-hmm. Everyone's too busy, and America, certainly, even over the last 20 years, 30 years, regardless of administration, has been too busy trying to virtue signal with things that are completely ineffective, things like renewable, clean energy. They give it names like this. Germany did this, and Germany was once very famous about 8 years ago, for getting almost 100% of its energy from renewables. Oh, wow, well done to Germany. But when it gets cold and you have to crank the power up and the wind's not blowing, what do? No, it's okay. We'll just use Russian gas. We'll use other countries and take our energy supplies from there.
Oh, you mean rely on other countries? Is that what you're saying? Rely on other countries?
No, yeah, and that was Germany's downfall.
Yeah.
Energy prices in Germany have 4x'd in the last 7 or 8 months. And it's not that, and I'm not going to say my opinions on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I'm not going to do that, actually. But let me tell you something about Russia and Germany. I'm going to talk about Russia and Germany. It is not that Russia has cut off the gas to Germany. It is not that Russia has cut off the gas to anyone. It's that, for good or for bad, they were sanctioned so heavily with all the assets they held in US dollars. They said to Europe, look, we will sell you the gas. No problem. Please open a rubles account. Pay us in Russian rubles for the gas. And Germany and all these countries are virtue signaling so hard over a country which is, the politicians of Germany have no jurisdiction and no responsibility over the people of Ukraine. That is the Ukrainian government's job. They are selling their own people out by refusing to open this rubles account and refusing to buy the gas that their own energy prices have 4x'd, 5x'd in the last 6 or 7 months. So anyone who said that Russia cut Germany off, I'm talking about Russia-Germany dynamics. I'm not talking about Russia and Ukraine,
right,
by the way. Anyone who said Russia cut Germany off, they didn't cut anyone off. It's supply and demand, and they sell their gas the way they want. And Germany are in a position where they want to virtue signal so hard that they're getting buried. Now, the United States, if I was the president and I could do anything I wanted in the United States, number one, I would fight for energy independence. Now with fracking and the shale reserves that are up north in the northern states that border Canada, with Texas's oil fields, with everything that's been found in the Gulf of Mexico, America could achieve energy independence in a few short years. And until it does that, and it's still relying on foreign influences, most countries in the world, by the way, even those who are friendly to America, dislike America in general. You're relying on unfriendlies to power your massive greed and infrastructure and military. You're never going to fix the country. Energy independence is number one, and that is what I would fight for if I became, I won't even say president, dictator of the United States. But I have no interest in politics. I'm never going to run for politics. But I believe that's not America's number one issue.
I think so too. I think it is too, because when you have the ability to have the energy here, but then you're basically making other countries, you're basically making the enemy rich, and then you're relying on them.
Exactly.
Like, look at China. They're gonna hit Taiwan.
Yeah, exactly. But America's relying on China. They make all our fucking iPhones. What are we gonna do? So yeah, independence in terms of manufacturing and energy is paramount. And I could tell you why we preach this, because myself and my brother, we were very quiet about the Hustlers University 2 program for a long while. And that's because we essentially were revamping it. Because we relied on the matrix systems, as myself and my brother called them, Amazon servers, etc., to run our Hustlers University 2 program. In this height of mass cancellation, they canceled our payment processors. But the program's been running very successfully in the entire time. And the essence of Hustlers University 2 is we say, exactly like you have to be energy independent, you have to be financially independent in and of yourself. You can't be relying on the enemy, whether the enemy is your own government, whether the enemy is the welfare state, whether the enemy is someone else. If you just happily wait there for your stimulus checks and the government to hand you the breadcrumbs, and you have no personal agency to make your own money and to earn money, whether it be online, with the unlimited resources that exist in the world, then you are just waiting for somebody to get bored one day and think, fuck it, I'm going to take this guy out. Countries are the same. People are the same. That's why we tell every single young man, and I'll say it right now, the link is on my picture, I believe, hu2.io. Hustlers University 2 has been running this entire time, and we've gone loud again with it now because we now rely on zero systems that can be canceled. We have our own bank, our own payment processors, our own servers, etc. We've rebranded. It's now going to be called, from November 14th, The Real World.
That's
and we
awesome.
teach, instead of 18 methods of modern wealth creation methods, we now teach 19, because now we can teach whatever we like without having to worry about being censored.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's the same with countries. It's the same with people. You need to be able to make your own food, make your own bread, have your own energy, have your own income streams, have your own money, and not be reliant on anyone else.
What happened to a garden?
Me too, right here.
What happened to a garden, Tristan? What happened to like a garden? People like my grandparents, my mother, they would have, tomatoes in their garden and shit. You never see that kind of stuff anymore.
The biggest psyop America has ever pulled, and I'll say America because I believe America's very bad for this nowadays. In Eastern Europe here, I live in the richest part of town. There are houses down the road from here that have their own chickens. Some. Not everybody, but it's a lot bigger here. And there are certainly in the countryside and the smaller towns and villages, everyone's making their own vegetables.
Again, nobody's fat out there.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest psyop that the American government have ever pulled, and I will say America this, because America is the only country that mandate this by law. The biggest psyop that they've ever pulled is by making it the law that everybody with land in front of their house and behind their house for beautification of the city laws, for whatever compliance laws they want to put in place, for whatever reasons they say, you now have to spend your time cultivating, cutting, trimming completely useless, non-edible grass on all the land that you have. No, you can't plant potatoes in your front garden. No. That would make the city look ugly. We're going to fine you. We're going to fine you so bad. There have been people who've been taken to jail for having ugly brown lawns because they refuse to do the care.
Yeah.
So you still have to do the labor. You still have to either hire or do the labor yourself. You still have to cultivate plants. You still have to grow them to a certain standard and make them look a certain way. But no, it has to be grass. It's inedible, completely useless, not good for bees, not good for wildlife, not good for shit. It has to be grass. And that is a psyop that the American government have pulled over the last 50 years. And wow, has it worked.
And they do. And
Nobody grows shit anymore.
right now, if you go down the street, we're probably, 2 miles from where Trump lives, and Al Pacino has a house down here. He's never there. All these monster houses down this road, they fine you $20,000, $20,000 if your lawn care isn't taken care of. And just like you said, it's cut like this high. There's not, it's green as green can be. So they're putting all that shit in the soil that's going somewhere into the ground, that's going into people's food.
Yeah, exactly. But don't grow organic potatoes.
No, don't do that.
Not allowed. Nope, that would make the neighborhood look ugly. So we're going to fine you $20,000. No potatoes, grass only. It's insane. And I think America's the only country in the world that does that, mandates grass. A lot of people do it because it's fashionable. My garden's all grass. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. But also I have about 4 years worth of 4 year supply worth of freeze dried food that's going to last me 35 years here in my house as a just in case. So I'm in a very privileged position. But it's insane that that they mandated that you must do plant care. You must take care of your plants, but it has to be this one inedible, useless plant, useless for everything. And if it's not, then you go to jail.
Yeah, and it's true. You're 100% right. They'll fine you, and next thing you know, they'll throw you in the county. I wanted to get your opinion on this. Here in America, HRT clinics have become huge, like getting testosterone and everything else. Now, when a guy goes and does it, he's on steroids, he's this, he's that. But yet forever, and I don't think this is sexist, it's the truth. Forever, women have gone and gotten their breasts done. Now they get their ass done, whatever they get done. Now they have the HRT clinics, and whenever a guy goes and gets testosterone, maybe actually really does need it, maybe just wants to feel better, is taken under doctor care, there's a stereotype then of that male that he's that big, that strong, or whatever it may be because he went and got HRT. Yeah, I can give him all the testosterone in the world, but if he's not working out, he's just going to look like a fat midget.
Yeah. So my opinion on steroids is this. Me and my brother have the same opinion, and we've always shared the same opinion. And we didn't think of this when we were younger. So it's not that we were particularly long-sighted. Your testosterone level and your testosterone health, if you work out your whole life, I've been working out religiously since I was 13 years old, 14 years old, but ever since I started kickboxing. I found a sport I loved. I didn't think about the long-term health effects, etc. But my muscle density is good. My testosterone levels are nice and high. I function perfectly fine sexually. My bone density is good. I'm big. I've got a big frame. I'm strong. That's very much a product of my lifestyle. But I don't think there's anything wrong if you've been living the wrong way. There are people who have done irreparable damage to their bodies and themselves from a lifetime of complacency, video games instead of sports, TV instead of going out in the world and trying to meet people, porn instead of meeting real women. And they get to 35, 40, 45 years of age, and the testosterone is shot, their bodies are fucked, and the only way to make this massive transformation back to even let's call it
a slim of a healthy person.
is to get help in some way. And a lot of people find help in testosterone replacement therapy. Absolutely, they should, because testosterone levels anyway, they reduce over time. I'm so not against it. I will say that a point will come in my life, probably in my 40s, where I'll think, Tristan, it's time to start topping your levels up a bit. And women have been doing this for as long as you said, as long as surgeries have been invented. I mean, there have been facelifts, everything to look younger, putting little fillers and stuff in their lips and their faces. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. if it's being used for the right reasons. And, you know, you can be 40 years old where you're never too late to make a positive change in your life, and you could have lived wrong the entire 4 decades, and you think, fuck it, I need to get myself into shape. Steroids aren't going to get you out of it. Steroids, along with hard work, along with going to the gym, along with critiquing your diet and stuff, is going to help you. But do I have anything against it morally? No. As I said, a point will come in my life where I have to jump on this stuff. I've never tried it myself. My brother has publicly called out anyone who says that he's on gear to come and blood test us, no problem at all. So it's not something I've done, but I do understand the need for it, and I don't think it should be ostracized.
That's what I meant. It's ostracized if a guy that goes and gets testosterone from the HRT clinic, or say the one where a guy, you know, maybe he's 45, maybe he saved up for 5 years and he's tired of being fat. He's too fat to get it to go down, so he gets where they tie the stomach so your stomach shrinks.
Right.
And then that male and female too, they're looked down like, oh, well, they cheated to get down there. I look at it as that male, okay, well, maybe that man wants to, he looked in the mirror one day and said, damn, I better do something. And he's kind of past the point of jumping on a treadmill for 3 hours a day trying to lose it, saved up his money, got the thing, but yet then he's looked at as like this cheater or whatever. But then when someone else does it, there's a completely different stigma. Actually, there is no stigma.
I'm going to turn this argument upside down for a second, and I'm going to say, good, but here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning, because initially I get what you're saying, and I do agree with you. But to play devil's advocate, I'm going to say good. And I'm going to say good for one reason and one reason only. It's actually very good for men that we don't have a body positivity movement. The reason no one looks down on women is not just because women can do whatever they like and, you know, they're beautiful through surgery and we're not allowed to say anything bad about them. My friend, we're not allowed to say anything bad about them if they're fat and unattractive due to their own life choices. I'm not allowed to say that woman is 400 pounds. Wow, she's unattractive. I prefer a woman who's 150, 200 pounds. I'm not allowed to say that. So I would actually say, thank God that this does not exist for men. God, that when you're a man who's big and fat and out of shape, other men will look at you and say, that guy is fat and weak and he's a loser. It's good that women will look at you and say, you know what? I don't want to have sex with that 500-pound man. Fuck that guy. Because at least we don't have the body positivity movement. Now, fine. You take drastic choices and you make drastic steps to get into shape and to boost your testosterone or to clamp your stomach, whatever, and you get back into presentable shape. If the body positivity movement existed for men, there'd be no incentive to do any of that, and then you're just a fat undesirable, and everyone has to pretend they're attracted to you, but you're still getting no pussy and still living a substandard life. So, yeah, it's better to be laughed at for that kind of stuff than praised for staying fat. So I much prefer the male position.
Right, I agree with you. And then the way you said it, it almost takes you back to the trophies for everybody. Right? You could kind of look at it like that too. So the guy who's working his ass off and ripped, then the guy that was fat and chunky and drank beer and played video games till 45, he goes and gets one surgery and he's got an 8-pack like the Liver King. Ever see that guy? He's funny as hell.
No substitute to natural hard work and health.
Yeah.
Substitute. Could live. So I'm 34. If a man lived like shit until 31, for the last 3 years, he could have made an epic transformation. Good. He may even physically look better than me. But my natural testosterone levels, my bone density, my sexual function is still going to be much better than his. So there is no real substitute for it. Whereas, you know, with women, it is a substitute. Because when you grab those big titties, do you really care what they're made of?
Nope. I do not care. Nope. And any guy who says that they do is full of shit.
Yeah, women have cheat codes that men don't have.
Yeah, what the fuck? We don't even have 5. I can't count 5. Can you count 5 cheat codes we got, Scott? We don't get shit.
So yeah, it's thank God things are the way they are. I like them. I wouldn't change them. And for all you guys out there who want to make a positive change in your life, I certainly won't laugh at you. And some people might laugh at you, but let me tell you, when you're the guy who's 220 pounds, maybe still a bit overweight, but in much better shape. Maybe you've, I'll say it right now. I've had a hair transplant. I've taken hair from other sides of my head and put it here on top to make my hair look thicker.
Listen, my hair goes, Tristan, I'm telling you right now, my hair goes, the first thing I'm doing, I'll go get 10 jobs at McDonald's. I'll work morning shift, night shift. If my hair goes back, if I lose my hair, the first thing I'm doing, I'm going and get my hair fixed. I will not live this life without hair. No way.
And I did do that, but I don't really suit being bald. I've actually got a bunch of scars on the side of my head from car crashes and broken glass. I like having hair, and I've done that. And for any dude out there, and I'm saying this as words of encouragement, if you're the fat guy who did a gastric band, maybe you're the really, really skinny guy who did the testosterone boost. I'm a guy who was losing his hair a bit and got a hair transplant. Let me tell you, some people mention this. Oh, yeah, Tristan, you had a hair transplant. I'm 34 years of age. I'll be 35 soon. Yeah, my hair was thinning a bit. Whatever, I fixed it. But let me tell you, I'm happier. I look more attractive. You know, there are beautiful women surrounding me. So let the incel in his bedroom, who maybe has thick natural hair, type all his laughing comments at me if he likes. And let the loser, who's still fat and still out of shape, assassinate you online for having your gastric band or doing your testosterone boost or whatever. Let them laugh, but you're going to live a happier, more fulfilled life.
Because you're going to look in the mirror and you're happy with you, and you can love yourself, right? And then you can love yourself, and then you're better to other people.
And believe me, no one knows better, especially in the last 7 or 8 months. No one knows better what it's like to be attacked online. Me and Andy right now.
I still don't understand.
Truly don't give a fuck.
I want to ask you about, we had talked about drugs a little bit earlier. What do you think about Big Pharma? You know, pushing down this Ritalin, you know, the Adderall to all these guys. I've seen guys get put on Ritalin, Tristan, the happiest, funniest, cracking jokes all the time, ready to go, just funny. And then they go and they give them this, ADHD shit or whatever they give them, and they turn into a totally different person. No personality. They're not funny anymore. They're not who they are. But, you know, you have the doctors with the kickbacks, you know, so they're going to pump you with whatever they can make the money off of. What's your take on the Big Pharma and what it's doing to a lot of guys with all this bullshit medication that you get one, then that one gives you a side effect that you need another one and another one and another one. Then Pfizer goes into court. They killed 1,000 people. Somehow they get to go into court and pay $1 billion and walk away. If it's you or me, we're doing life. And then they make another drug and do it again.
Yeah, it's look, medical technology and medical science is wonderful. It's wonderful that we can cure cancer with chemotherapy. It's wonderful that insulin keeps diabetics alive. It's all wonderful. It's not so much the drugs, it's the system that purports them. As I was saying about the American food industry and why the parents are at fault for poisoning their children, because it is supply and demand, the way the American system is set up in particular is very dangerous. And I think it's set up because I don't know anyone in this country who gives their kids Ritalin. I don't know. I've never heard of it. It's not a thing that is done out here. And it's
really?
done in Russia, and it's not a thing that's done in China. I know.
Jeez, it's everywhere.
Yeah. It shocks a lot of Americans. I believe they're trying to create worker drones for the Matrix, and the completely neutrally, emotionally balanced person who's going to go to work their 9 to 5 and pay their taxes is what they want. Eccentrics are very dangerous to the system. Very low-level depressed people are very dangerous to the system. If we could just level everyone out chemically, the problem is with the supply and demand in this case is the faith that people have in doctors. When doctors are no longer working for their patients and doctors are incentivized in the wrong way, that's what makes medicine dangerous. Because as I said, I don't know anyone here who takes Ritalin. Romanian doctors aren't particularly rich. They don't make as much money as American doctors, but they're not incentivized in the same way. Their incentive is, okay, this person's sick, let me treat the sick person. And this medical system, it lacks a lot. It really does. But I think every medical system needs that trust and that faith in the doctor. And that's what's hurting America, because people don't know any better. And this is something where people are, in fact, innocent victims. You know, if you want what's best for your kid, and I'm a father myself, and a doctor says your child needs these pills, or they're going to be dysfunctional at school, they're going to be dysfunctional in this way or that way. American parents, you know, you trust your doctor and you give them the pills that you're taking. If the medical system was incentivized very differently for the doctors, and you know, the parents and the doctors and the kids had a different relationship with each other, drugs like Ritalin wouldn't exist. There'd be no demand for them. You know, if you're a parent and your daughter or your son is really outgoing and really crazy and loves jumping over walls and climbing fences, personalities exist on a spectrum. I have friends my age as a 34-year-old man who are absolutely insane nutcases, jump off the balcony into the ocean, and I have friends who are chilled out, who don't want to do any of that shit. My eccentric friends don't need Ritalin. My eccentric friends don't need a downer to bring them down. And my friends who are more quiet and more chilled don't need pills to help their overthinking or their depression. Yeah, it's not the drugs. It is Big Pharma. because of the way they've positioned themselves between the doctor and the patient. That's what I would say.
And you're 100% right. I had a drug rep in, and his first drug was from Lilly. He was working with Lilly, and it was Cialis. So he would go around and sell Cialis, and he killed it. You know, I mean, how hard is it to sell Cialis? I mean, I could get an aunt to sell Cialis to somebody, you know what I mean? But then he killed it with that, and then they started giving him like anti-depression drugs. And they would give him a budget of $20,000 a month. And if he would come back to Lilly and didn't spend all $20,000 of that money on the doctors, taking them to dinners, you know, giving them gift cards, taking them out on the boat, renting a yacht. If he didn't spend all $20,000 every month, he got docked and paid for that month. If he spent all $20,000, he got a bonus.
That's exactly what I meant. It's absolutely terrifying.
So what you just said is fact, not thought, is fact.
And the thing is with Cialis, there's always going to be a big market. You know, time is the fire in which we all burn. Men always get older.
Oh yeah, it's great shit.
You're going to want to be able to sexually function. So good, but at the same time, the demand in, you know, the spike of young people, and they're reducing sexual function, they're reducing testosterone levels. Cialis isn't the cure.
But Tristan, they didn't give him they didn't give him any money for the Cialis. He just went out and did it. When they switched him to depression medication, that's when they said, look, on the depression medication, you better drop $20K a month.
Yeah, it's terrifying, and that is the way it's set up, and that scares me. But all you can do is, you know, as a parent and as a friend, you know, talk people out of taking this poison.
Be aware. And,
you know, I'm going to touch very briefly on a recent program that was worldwide of everybody trying to get everybody to inject. And I can't remember the name of it. I'm not going to say it on this podcast. But there was this program recently where, you know, you couldn't fly and you couldn't travel and you couldn't do certain things if you didn't have these certain injections for this certain disease. The name slips my mind. Hilariously upsetting about that is, you know, in the interest of public health, when you look at insulin prices in the United States, insulin is very cheap to produce, and insulin in Europe is very cheap to get. It's very cheap to get hold of. No diabetic here in Romania or the United Kingdom or France is going to die because they don't get their insulin. And if the United States, which is a country that very heavily advocated for this vaccination program, the one I forgot its name, really cared about keeping people alive and cared about people's health, then why not just eliminate the monopoly in the United States on insulin from the big pharma and have the government fund, because it funded this other program, have it fund, you know, giving every person who's born with diabetes fair access to insulin at a reasonable price? Because surely if you care about keeping people alive, that's an issue that's been pressing since insulin was first synthesized in the 50s or 60s?
50s, yeah, like I think 52, 53.
Up it up. Thousands of dollars per vial.
Yeah.
A whole month's salary for vials of insulin. You know, I mean...
And that's something that's keeping kids alive. That's keeping kids alive, and they're jacking the price up.
So be very careful about how you look at the drugs that you take, how they got into your hands, who told you to take them, and why. I would say that again.
This podcast is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. It's the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster Energy.
And women had to take a class when I was in high school. So this is now 17, 18 years ago, called domestic home skills or domestic skills, where we had to cook. We had to bring ingredients.
Yeah, it was almost called, I think it was called cooking class. Some lady would teach you how to cook. Yeah. They don't have that anymore.
But here's the thing. If you're a man and you then leave your mother's household and you go off to fucking college or university, or even go off and get a job, and you don't know how to cook, you're fucked. These are fundamental life skills, and cutting them out makes you reliant once again on the matrix. There's an app. If I order IKEA furniture, that sends someone round to assemble my IKEA furniture. Okay, I'll just do that because I don't know how to do this. Oh, let Uber Eats every day. Well, I don't really know how to cook. Ha ha ha. Like, it's not funny. I could still prepare a meal, and I could still do basic electronics and basic car maintenance and stuff on the crap I have, because I was so broke. I had to fix my broken down car loads of times. I had to fix my broken computers.
You had no choice.
Basic stuff. I don't, because I'm in a position of time is money, and I'm very, very busy. But I could. And the fact that they don't teach this stuff in schools is criminal. Now, about university, before I talk about my own university, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on university.
Please do.
Again, like I said with Big Pharma, university is great. I don't shit on university. It's great for lots of people. You want to be a doctor? You better get that medical degree. You want to practice law? You better pass the bar. That's real shit. And there are people, I'm not educated. I left education at 16 years of age. Everything I know is from self-education, study. I read books for when I have spare time. Everything I know is I'm a self-educated person. But when people come along and say, well, I have to go to university because my parents said, that's very dangerous. That's not, I want to be a doctor, so I need my medical degree. That's dangerous. And let me tell you why. Just like Big Pharma in the United States is positioned perfectly to exploit and manipulate people, universities in the United States and the United Kingdom are equally as well positioned. They have a monopoly. If I am an 18-year-old man in the United States of average intellect, and I say to the government or a bank or anyone, hello, I would like you to lend me $50,000. And they say, well, what are you going to do with $50,000? And I say, well, there's an airstrip near my house. I can start taking flying lessons. I can get my basic pilot's license. Then I can do some short air flights, or I'm going to open a business where I write letters in the sky, or I want to become a commercial airliner, and I want to do my pilot's training. It's going to cost me over $50,000. Please give me that money. Please give me that loan, and I want to become a pilot. They'll say, ha, 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 no. Join the military or fuck you. No, you can't have a loan. If I have a wonderful business idea at 18 years of age, and I say, I need $25,000 because I need to start this great business. Here's my business plans. Ha, 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 no way. You're 18. We don't trust you. Go fuck yourself. Oh, I'm 18. I don't know what to do with my life. I want to study gender studies or business. Can you give me $100,000 in loans so I can party and drink and, live my life while I'm studying this for 4 years and give $75,000 to my university for debt that I'll work for the rest of my life? Here's your...
Yeah, they can't sign it fast enough. You're with the agenda. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? You have that ink won't be dry by the time it's in your hands.
Exactly. They're equally well positioned because they have a monopoly on the loan industry to young people. And that, again, is very, very scary. So the university me and my brother have started, Hustlers University.
Congratulations.
We're rebranding to the real world. The simple premise of it is very simple. One, I know how hard it is as a young man to make money. And I also know how hard it is as a young man to network with anybody important. Back when I was 18, I could open my phone. I had 0 millionaires on my phone, not one. And not a millionaire who would take time to tell me anything or try and teach me anything. So I used my network, the War Room, to find 18 millionaires, all in their own fields, whether it be stock trading, affiliate marketing, and took 18 self-made millionaires who I verified and vetted. And they work for the people who join Hustlers University. They do daily lectures, lesson, class material, and educate people in either of these 18 rooms on how to make money the way they made money. So now when you're an 18-year-old kid, I'm not going to ask for $100,000 in some loan you're never going to pay off. If you want to learn from millionaires, if you want to learn affiliate marketing from a multi-millionaire verified, you join the Hustlers University program for $49, and boom, you now have a millionaire who's taking your calls, who's interested in who you are, whose time you have, who sends you daily lessons, who grades your work. And the success stories that are coming out of this are insane. And there's no logical reason why anyone would have tried to shut this down during my land use big cancellation, but they tried to shut us down. And now in November 14th, every Hustlers University student is going to be transferred to the new program called The Real World, where we are now teaching more methods of wealth creation. I'm not going to say what they are yet, because that's a big announcement. Ones that, the people who run the servers at Amazon would not have been happy for us hosting on their servers. And I'm going to teach every young person and empower them how to make money, because I like the people who like me to be empowered. I don't want the people who like me to just watch my videos on the internet and think, oh, well, what the fuck can I do? At least I've now created a resource where for $49, which is nothing, it's a few hours work at any minimum wage job, for the entire month, you have access to real millionaires teaching you real things. So that's my contribution to the education world.
So basically for $50 a month, you get a real millionaire to mentor you. Really, that's what you get. And when I think of it like that, they're millionaires. So that's the best people to listen to if you really want to succeed in life. And then I think I go back to drugs, and then I say to myself, how many friends do I know that went to rehab? They got out, the second they got out of rehab, boom, right back to the drugs. And I would be like, why? Because I never fuck with drugs either. You know, I don't mess with that shit. And I was like, why right away? Because I sit there for 30 days, and somebody who's never done a drug in their life, somebody who's never gone through any type of withdrawal, is going to sit there and try to tell me how I feel. And I'm relating that to what you're doing with the Millionaire University, because, see, you have millionaires coming in that are actual millionaires, not people that want to be or read about them. They're really millionaires to mentor you. And one of the things in the U.S. with all this rehab bullshit that doesn't exist here is you got some lady who went to some tech school for 2 years, read some books, or guy, mad at the world, and is dealing with a bunch of guys or girls that are sick. They have no relation because they've never been through it. And then I guess the U.S., they don't even want to help because they just want to make more money. But pretending that they did, if they did want to help, they would put in people that have been through it, that know how to talk to someone who's had a really bad problem. And then I bet you the success rate would be probably fourfold.
Yeah, because when I say I like university, I think about 60% or 70% of university degrees are completely pointless.
Fuck yeah.
If you go to a school and look at your teachers who all have medical degrees, look at the faculty car park. You'll see some Corvettes. You'll see some Mustangs. You'll see some great vehicles in that parking lot. If you go to the run-of-the-mill university that's going to teach business, on your introduction day, young people, please go there and have a look around the university. Oh, hi, I'm the guy who's going to be teaching you business. Hello, sir. My name is Tristan Tate. What successful company have you run, and how much money do you make? You're just a guy who has a degree in business. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, it's a fucking Ponzi scheme.
It's a parking lot. And you're going to see a bunch of broken down Toyotas and fucking Dodge fucking whatevers. And nobody has any money.
No.
Standing there paying $100,000 to stand in front of some guy who's only making 50 grand a year himself, give all these wonderful business lessons.
And it's so right. It's so fucking right.
Making double minimum wage at best. Why are you listening to that guy?
Tristan, he's got another job that he puts to, he's in the back. He's cooking in the back on his second job at nighttime, and he doesn't want nobody to know. But this is the guy who's going to make me a millionaire, right? Get the fuck out of here. And couldn't that be the more than...
You're listening to Verified Millionaires.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Shit.
Verified Millionaires.
That's a great idea.
I'm not pulling anyone's pants down. And that's why they tried to shut me down, because I've introduced... We had our peak, and it's going to climb back up there very, very soon. Over 150,000 students.
Congratulations.
The revenue that's coming in.
Great thing.
It gives me the ability, with 150,000 students at that price level, to reward the millionaires amount of money that matters for them, for their time, so they're well paid, they're well compensated. Everybody within the program is getting value for money, and they don't like programs like mine. Because when I say, look, I've got 18 millionaires ready to teach you about life and making money and all the lessons, and it's not just, I'm the affiliate marketing guy, let me teach you affiliate marketing. They'll talk about their failures, things that went wrong for them, just general life habits they have for being a millionaire. You're really learning from these people. And the people who are in charge of the world and big education, like I like to call, like big medicine, big pharma, they don't like programs like mine. Why would they want every young person in the world to just access 18 millionaires and their life lessons and all their money-making ideas and stories for $49? They don't want that.
Well, they don't want that because then they can't control them.
Isn't that?
They can't control them then, Tristan. They can't control them.
So check out Hustlers University too, hu2.io.
Hey, that would be in the description. That's awesome. And what a great idea. What a great idea. And that's what's needed. It's needed. It's people that like you doing that.
It actually, if it wasn't for the War Room, I'm not going to plug the War Room. If it wasn't for the War Room, because I don't, it's our private network. If it wasn't for the War Room, I wouldn't have been able to launch Hustlers University, because these are all friends of mine and people who I've networked with and known for many years. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you X percentage of the net profit of this company. One of the guys in there is worth over $200 million. I'm not going to say exactly which one it is, but one of the professors. And he started working for Hustlers University too. And I think his first paycheck for the first month was like $420, working 8 hours a day. So it took the War Room, it took Mindlander's private network and people's faith in me to put something this unique together. Because it was only once it finally became successful that the professors were making an adequate amount of money that they deserve that they deserve for all their time and all their hard work.
Congratulations.
10 students. When there was 10 students, I still had 18 million in there giving daily lessons. So it was a miracle, but we pulled it off. And it's a wonderful program. We're rebranding soon to the New World.
And you know what? And when you have money like that, you already made the money. You've already had the money. So it's always fun then to watch somebody else do it. It's fun to watch somebody else come up. It's
really enjoy it.
Yeah, it really is. I'm really happy you're doing it like that.
Success stories. I love seeing the success stories. I love seeing the success stories of the people who made money within the program. It makes me so happy. And I just wish something like that existed around when I was 18. It just didn't.
Me too.
I don't want these young guys struggling as hard as I did. I'm going to at least open up a bridge and let them cross it if they want.
My option was, when I was 18, my option would have been Dan Pena at his castle in Ireland and get beat down to a pulp and then get brought back up. You know who Dan Pena is? Yeah, he's here in Miami in December, and I'm going to his hotel to do a podcast with him for 2 hours. He's awesome.
I've never met the guy. I've never spoken to him. He's a friend of some friends, though. So I know people who do know him.
He's an interesting guy for sure. Can't help but not laugh with him. So with the casinos, how'd you guys get into the casinos? What a choice to go into that. That sounds like a hell of a lot of headache.
You know what? We positioned ourselves. Networking is super important. And through kickboxing, we met the sponsors of the main kickboxing, the main MMA federation in the Balkans, which is called RXF. I'm now a part owner of that. Myself, my brother.
Congratulations.
It's a great show, so check out the fights.
Absolutely.
But one of the main sponsors of the show were a bunch of brothers who owned a very big chain of casinos here in Bucharest. And I'm not talking big, glamorous cocktail waitresses, live dealers kind of casinos. I don't own those. I'll be honest, I don't. But I own a lot of very small casinos, and they're all like automated roulette wheels, machine-based, etc. And I knew it was a great business model. So I initially spoke to the sponsors when I first joined the RXF team many years ago and said, well, let me open some locations for you. He said, no, we don't really need you to. It's fine. I look at a place in the city, I point to it, and they'll open a location for me. I was like, okay, these guys don't need me. And I propositioned them every time I met them. And it was a team of 3 brothers. They've now made their money. They do very well. One of them is in charge of running the business. The other 2 are busy doing other things. And I said, look, okay, how about this? Let us open some locations for you, pay you your franchise fee. But we're going to open next to your biggest competitor. And as we go to war with your competitors for you, because these aren't necessary locations that you necessarily would choose, I'm going to make some money. Your competitor is going to lose some money, where you're going to keep your brand dominance, etc. I finally made an offer that they liked. And we shook hands, and from there, I've become the only person, myself, my brother, the only people in the world with the rights to franchise these casinos, and we keep opening new ones, and they make wonderful money, and it's a wonderful business.
Congratulations.
I'm a gambling addict.
I don't fuck. No. I've seen the. I don't bet. I've seen. Believe me, I grew up in South Philly.
You don't go to the casino.
No.
By all means, enjoy casinos. I enjoy casinos. When I'm in Las Vegas, when I'm in Monaco,
sure.
I go out with as much money as I'm happy to lose. I spin it away, drink some drinks. I have fun at casinos, but by all means, don't become a gambling addict.
Don't go into the casino with more than you have to lose. Only go in with what you can lose, because they're in business and they got them big fancy buildings for a reason. They're not that fancy because you're the winner.
You're right about that. The house always wins. But yeah. So casino business wrapped up in a second. Interesting line of work.
So when I was looking through everything, I still don't understand why they canceled you. It's like, what do you think is the foundation why all this cancellation thing and then the raid bullshit because of somebody said something?
Yeah.
But why cancel you? Like, I don't understand why they're after you. I looked. What do you say that's bad or do? I only see you helping people. I don't see anything.
We could talk about the excuses they made for it, and they're very good at doing this. They delete you, then they say that you're dangerous because of X reason, and then you can't argue back. Luckily, me and my brother are marketing geniuses. My brother was on the Piers Morgan show 2 days ago, one of the biggest shows in all of Europe. They can't shut us up, but they did try. The plan is cancel them, shut them up, say that they're dangerous because of misogyny, and because they're misogynists, let's put that over every newspaper that we could find and hope that people just go along with them being canceled. But people got more curious and they started listening, and they're going to listen to a podcast like this where I've said nothing misogynistic and never ever will, because I'm not a misogynist. I love women. Of course I do. You can't be a man like me and not love women. No. And they essentially, over the stuff I say about university, the stuff I said about certain the medical procedure they were telling everyone to have, and programs like this, which I still will not talk about on anyone else's channel. They were listening to myself and my brother talk about all these things. It make a lot of sense. And we were opening a lot of eyes about a lot of these problems. And I believe that their finger was hovering over the cancel button until they found an excuse. And they found an excuse, and then they pushed the cancel button. But it was a culmination of a bunch of things. They don't want young men empowered, strong, financially independent, free thinking, because the world is fucked once men get like that. I mean, the world isn't fucked. The world's better. But the control of the matrix is compromised when that happens. So I really believe that the initial reason we got banned is my brother said, and I'll quote exactly, if I were to fly through the eye of a hurricane and I had to decide if I had a male or female pilot, I'd choose the men because I believe that men are more level-headed in stressful situations from my personal experience. But if I were to drop my niece, talking about my daughter, off at a daycare center, I would much rather drop her at a daycare center that's run by all women, because women are much better at being empathetic and understanding the needs of children, whereas men are not so good at this.
I agree 100%, and I have a 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah, full quote. Now, if you cut that quote in half, chop it around a bit, if I were to fly through a hurricane, I'd want a male pilot. Boom. That blows up everywhere. Billions of views. This guy's dangerous. He's misogynistic. He thinks women shouldn't be pilots. And that's what they purported as the reason why they canceled us. Well, there's a clip of Andrew saying, oh, what I do is I take the machete, I put her in her face, and I say, calm the fuck down. And he's like, he threatens women with machetes. The full quote is, Andrew was asked on a podcast, he says, I sleep with this machete next to my bed. And he was asked a question, what if a girl you were sleeping next to pulled out the machete and tried to kill you in the middle of the night? So in a question about self-defense, about being attacked, he said, well, I grabbed the machete, put it in her face, say, calm the fuck down, fucking throw it to the side, whatever. They cut that bit off and said, look, this guy attacks women with machetes. It's like,
what a dirty motherfucker. What a dirty motherfucker. Whoever cut that up, that's some dirty shit, man. That's evil.
And legally, in a self-defense scenario like that, you'd be allowed to shoot somebody. So Andrew just says he'd push her away after waving the machete around. The point is, they found their excuses and they went loud with the reasons. But because great platforms like Rumble exist, because great platforms like Getter exist that allowed us to transfer all of our content everywhere else, people started watching what we actually said. The whole narrative has shifted. And I think that, it's all stopped now. You can't paint us in a bad light because we're not bad people. It's impossible. You can spread the rumors as much as you like. But real smart people will do their own research and they'll open their own eyes.
So I see. So they saw you guys blowing up. They saw you guys getting huge traction, just looking for a reason to hit that button, dancing around the, surgery for a guy or a girl at 9 or 10 years old, which is mind blowing that's even in a conversation. And then the podcast guy does the dirty, cut it up like they did to Rogan, and boom, now they got a way to get to you. But you guys don't sit. You guys don't sit, and I'm happy. I'm happy as hell to see you keep running.
The beautiful thing is, they couldn't ban us from YouTube because for the first week, our faces and voices were banned. But there were so many people saying bad things about us and doing reaction videos to us. All of their heroes, the people who purport their stuff, the fucking balls of the world, H3 Ethan declines. And these people were reporting our videos, and these videos started getting taken down. And they thought, oh, fuck, we have to change this. So they're allowed on YouTube, but they're not allowed their own channels. But because of our message being so popular and because we have such good friends and people who are smart out there like you or who are happy to invite me on and talk to us, the message is louder than ever.
Yeah.
Cancellation essentially all but failed. So, but that is why they wanted to cancel us. When I tell young men, go to your university and, ask your teachers how much, what businesses they run, talk to your parents, tell your parents to make more conscious health efforts, give away your participation trophies. That's why they canceled us. That's why. It's nothing to do with misogyny.
It sounds pretty damn positive. I don't know how it gets any more positive. They're that mad about 2 wealthy guys that came from nothing to send a positive message because you want control that bad?
With no criminal records.
With no criminal record.
Records. Businessmen. We're the enemy somehow.
And then, you know, you look at it and you say, okay, just like the Brady thing, you would say, well, there's got to be more to it. But there's not. And that's just how fucking crazy this world is.
That is how crazy it is.
How do you...
I don't know the motivations beyond that. Those are my guesses.
I think you're right on. I know a million people watching this. They're entrepreneurs. And myself, this is a personal question for you. How do you manage your time? Time always kills me. Because by nature, I'm a coder, so I code during the day. I build websites, I do all that. Then I got hooked into this podcast thing just out of fun, and now it's a whole thing. How do you manage your time? You know, you're running all these things, you're doing all these things. Like, do you have a set time that you go to bed? Like, break me down how you manage time.
The answer is with great difficulty, and I think you're not going to find anyone with this level of with a net worth that's 9 figures that you're going to find.
Congratulations, sir.
Is going to say easy. Like, I don't manage my time easily. I manage my time in a form of natural selection. So I don't have a schedule. I don't have a calendar, and this is something that I'm not advocating for this. This is something that I do. It's a system of natural selection because I also like partying. I like women. I like lots of things that are certainly detrimental to financial success, things that I like to spend my money on. I like driving around all day in my car. That earns me nothing. I love doing these things. And I could schedule myself and I could cut a lot of the fun out and concentrate on the necessities and concentrate on making the money only. But I feel that life is for living and natural selection runs my schedule. If I embark on a project tomorrow, for example, and in 6 months, I realized the project went nowhere because I dedicated none of my time to it, I'm happy. I'm happy because I think if I had forced myself to spend 4 hours a day on this project for 6 months and it had worked, okay, I'd have more money, but I basically got enough money. But what I've done is I've obviously burnt so much of my time, a half a year of my life into this project, which I clearly was not passionate about. I clearly wasn't passionate about it because I haven't invested any time in getting it off the ground. So natural selection controls my schedule. I know what I need to do each morning. I know what things I need to do, but I basically want to do them. I like doing my work. I like the War Room and Hustlers University and going to my casinos and all the things I do. I like it. If I didn't, I'd be less successful in those fields. It's certainly one of the reasons why I got out of the webcam OnlyFans kind of side of the business. I had no passion for that. It was a good way for me to make money at the time. I didn't find it interesting. I didn't think I was necessarily benefiting anyone. And when I had other ways of making money that I cared about more, I naturally took my foot off the gas. I didn't really make a conscious decision to schedule more hours towards this or more hours towards that. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and think, you know what? I'm going to drive my supercar to this town that I know where I've got 2 women who are 10 out of 10 hot. And I'm going to spend all night drinking vodka and champagne and smoking cigars. And I'm going to pass out and sleep like 9 hours after that, which is a lot for me. And sometimes I will do that. Well, what the fuck is the point in having any money if I can't make that decision? You know, natural selection runs my schedule. That's the best way I can describe it. I like to do things. And in terms of wasting my money, a quick bit of gold that I drop in here is I spend 50% of my money as though I'm going to live 50 more years, and 50% of my money as though I'm going to live 50 more days. And the reason I make stupid impulse purchases and have 27 cars is because I might die tomorrow. You might. Everyone listening might. You don't fucking know. So you don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. So I do make a lot of smart, informed financial decisions. But I also, like if you watch Take Confidential on Rumble, was walking through London one day, literally saw a Rolls Royce in the window and spent $550,000. Why? Because it's a cool story, and I did that. You know, and I don't want to be the guy without the Rolls Royce for the sake of having an extra $550K. And then what?
But isn't that what you worked for all these years? Isn't that what you worked for, to be able to go and just buy what you want when you want? Isn't that what you worked for, to be able to do that? So if you save it, then you never get to enjoy what you put all your time and effort and dedication into, right?
Exactly. But there is an art in scheduling, and lots of people keep lots of tight schedules, and lots of people who I speak to will send me their schedule, and I'll book in times to talk to them. I completely get that. I'm just telling you what I do. But I'm a bit of a maverick, I guess, in that regard. But it's all working out well so far. So. But
were you like that when you were building up? Before you hit, you know, the top where you're at now, when you were building up, did you have a schedule that you had on paper or on a document, or never did?
No, but I was always a workaholic. So even when I just discovered the webcam game and I was making money this way, I was up 20 hours a day working because there was nothing else I wanted to do more than make that money. So it's always been the same way. Now my business portfolio, my lifestyle is a lot more eclectic, and I do very many different things. I'll go fucking mountain hiking tomorrow, maybe, if I feel like it. So it's a lot more complicated and chopped up now. Back then, I didn't have a schedule because I didn't need one. I was single-mindedly focused on tasks, train for my kickboxing fight, win my fight. When I'm not training, run my studio. It was a lot simpler, so I didn't need one.
Yeah, you were a kickboxing champion. I forgot he was kickboxing champion.
Two-time European champion. My brother was the champion, but I was I'm no pussy myself.
I don't want no problems with that kickboxing shit. Hell no. I don't know. Thank you. Boxing's one thing, but I don't know how you guys can take those hits, boy. Damn.
It's a lot of fun. If you see my nose leans this way. I wasn't as good as Andrew, so I got punched a lot.
It looks absolutely straight to me. Two-time kickbox champion, it looks straight. Tristan, as straight as can be. I don't know what you're seeing, but I don't see it. Two-time kickbox champion, it's like Mike Tyson over there. That nose looks perfect, buddy.
Yeah, it certainly could have been worse.
I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate it. I hope you come back again, but I want to ask you one more thing, and networking. I think networking is a huge thing, and I underestimated it big time getting into this podcast thing in the beginning. Could you elaborate on some things you did in networking coming up and how you built your network so strong?
Coming up was always difficult. I think the number one step to networking isn't about trying to take other people's time. It's about being a nice person. It's going to sound very stupid. Be the kind of guy that guys want to hang around with and have a drink with. Be the kind of guy who's got some interesting stories. Don't be a degenerate. Don't be an idiot. Be smart. Be sharp. Be funny. Be articulate in the way you speak. Make people think, oh, it's Friday night and we're going to have a poker game. Let's invite that Tristan Tate guy. He's okay. So number one is working on yourself. Because if you're just and people do this. I've had people come to my fucking house, literally from America, and stand outside my house. Hi, I just thought I'd take the initiative and blah, blah. I'm like, security, get this guy away from my fucking house. Don't come near my fucking house. I've got my fucking kids here sometimes. Fuck off. Like, that's not networking.
That's weird. That's weird.
Because who are you? I don't like you. I don't know your fucking name. Be a likable person, and you'll slowly infiltrate very low circles and work your way up. Certainly with my dad, he played chess with a lot of wealthy people in the United Kingdom, and me and my brother would use our last money to take the train down to where these guys were at the casino, just to talk. Even when my father wasn't around, he was in America at the time, just to talk about my dad and talk about chess, maybe extract some value from these people while I was there. I always knew it was semi-important, but today with the internet, I mean, we just met today. The number of people I meet because of the internet is insane. So networking, the whole game has changed. You don't have to go through the hardship that I went through trying to meet important people. Don't be autistic, be likable, be smart, say something funny, make sure your introductions are good. Never act like a fan. If I meet someone and they say, hey, my name's Adam. I say, hey, Adam, I'm Tristan. Even if that guy's a super Tristan Tate fan in his head, he just pulled a smart move. Because now I'm like, oh, so what are you doing here, Adam? It's different. Oh my God, hi Tristan, can I have a picture? That's not networking. That's clout chasing, and you look like a jackass, and no one important is ever going to talk to you if you do that. So yeah, there are the tips and tricks are: be a nice, normal guy, be the kind of guy that people want to hang out with, be polite to everyone, be courteous, be funny, try and bring value in your own way, whether it's having a nice car, maybe it's turning up with 2 beautiful women at every party you're invited to. That's value in and of itself. And with the internet, there are lots of resources. I mean, mine and my brother's private networking organization is called the War Room. There's over 130 verified millionaires within the War Room. Everyone in there can talk to everyone. You can join the War Room and talk to me, but I'm not going to just reply to new guys for 8 hours a day. But if you start a conversation that I'm part of in the halls and the rooms, I'm certainly going to join in, and you'll be talking to people that perhaps you'd like to work with in the future. The business deals that have happened inside of the War Room, business deals have happened between people, 2 parties, richer than myself and my brother put together, doing business that makes more money than myself and my brother could make. And I find that very interesting considering we started the network.
And how cool is that to see? How cool is that to see happen? I mean,
it is. And also there are kids joining the War Room very recently. I'm not going to use any names, but one was a fitness instructor in Europe, speaks Romanian, the language here, with an American fitness instructor in Europe who's a little bit more successful, who runs courses and sells his fitness programs online and stuff. He helped this Romanian kid out. The Romanian kid gave him a percentage of his income. He now has, because he was no competitor, because he was releasing courses in the Romanian language, and he's now up and coming and making a lot of money in the fitness industry here in Romania. The guy in America is doing it, getting a cut. You can work with people who are more knowledgeable than you in almost every field within organizations like the War Room. But there are lots of organizations like that in real life. If you could scrape together enough money for a supercar, maybe you're in the position me and my brother were in when we bought that old Aston many years ago, that 60 grand car. Go to the local Aston Martin meetups because you're going to meet millionaires there. Airline pilots, surgeons, doctors, businessmen, and they're going to be impressed at you for having your car, and you're going to talk a bit about Aston Martins, maybe bring the conversation on a little further. But rule number one is don't act like a fan and don't be dislikable.
That's good advice. Now, you'll laugh at this one, but I opened up an engineering firm, and the reason why was a girl. It was just nuts. But the engineering firm had taken off. I had named it close to another company that had worked on a very famous hotel. So when I had done this, I would go in to these meetings, you know, nice tailored suit, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't get a deal. So I went to a very wealthy guy that I know, and I said, what is going on here? He goes, go get a pair of Gucci loafers with the horseshoes and a Rolex and go to Saks and get it tailored the right way. A Zena suit or something or whatever. This was back when I was wearing suits all the time with this engineering bullshit. So, and I did. And I went with those Gucci horseshoe loafers. It had to be horseshoes for some reason. And a presidential Rolex. Boom. Yeah. Deals left and right. Now, my question to you is, aside, that was just like something I went through with that shit. But when you're around somebody who's that millionaire, who's above you, and you don't want to seem like you want to use them, but they have a connection that you need. When is the right time to ask? Because you know 1,000 people are asking them every day for something, blah, 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 and you don't want to be that guy because you're friends with them. A lot of people are like that. When is the right time to ask?
I would say, don't ask anyone a favor unless you're comfortable sharing embarrassing stories. And that's not an exact science. What I mean is, if you're comfortable to sit around a guy and you've known him now, it's the 10th time you meet him, you're talking about some girl you hooked up with or something that went wrong, and and you could laugh at yourself and you're on that real comfortable level. I think that's the mark of an actual friendship beginning. And until you're friends with somebody, you shouldn't be asking anyone for favors. If you do someone favors, cool, ask them for favors back. But unless you could sit around for a whole day and discuss no business and smoke and play golf and do whatever it is you're doing and enjoy yourselves with that person, don't ask them for favors.
But if you had done them a favor, do you think it's all right then? If you do them a favor, tit for tat, right?
100%. 100%. Oh, I did this for you. Maybe could you do me a favor, introduce me to this? Or straight, if you don't want to, if you don't think that you're on the level with that guy that you're going to become friends with him, straight offer him a kickback or a cut of whatever you think you're trying to do. Hey man, I'm trying to get in touch with X because I'm trying to do Y. Hell, if I did this for the introduction, of course I'd give you a bit of money. A lot of people do this within the war room. I do this myself. But before asking for a favor, like a real favor, not I've scratched my back, I've scratched your back, you scratch mine. Make sure you're friends with the dude. So if you could sit around and have a funny conversation, you're laughing your ass off and you're drinking whiskey with him, that's the time to ask somebody for a favor, not on your first meeting or your second meeting. Because people do this to me all the time.
Yeah, like how many people ask you for a favor a day?
Oh, if you count Instagram inbox messages,
yeah.
20 every 60 seconds. My Instagram inbox is flooded.
Right. So
if this idea, but it's just leave me alone.
So that's exactly what I mean.
Never met.
So there you are. You're getting buried. So the last thing you want to hear is somebody coming up saying, Tristan, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? So what you're saying is become friends with Tristan.
First.
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I like you first, I'll do it.
Yeah. But like you said, build that friendship first and don't be just sitting there worried about the favor that you want.
And that goes down to what I said about networking. Be a likable person. That's the basis of all networking.
Yeah. Well, man, thank you very much for your time. Anything else?
I had a really great...
I don't want to take advantage too much, man, because I got to get you back on again.
No problem, man. You threw some really good questions my way, and I spoke about a lot of things that I don't tend to talk about. So yeah, it's people are going to see another side of me on here. And then when it's out, I'll push this to my Instagram, etc. Make sure a lot of eyes get on it. You can find me, for anyone watching on Instagram, at Talisman Tate. I'm also at Talisman Tate on Getter, which is my new Twitter replacement, because fuck Twitter. I'm on Rumble /Tate Speech, Rumble /Tate Confidential. And any questions about HU2, just go to HU2.io. There is a live chat function. And if you think it's right for you, I'd love to see you inside.
And obviously I'll put all this in the description. And I love when you say fuck you. Say fuck you. With the accent, I love it.
Fuck you.
I love it. I'm going to make that a soundbite. Whenever just like an emoji, and when somebody's an asshole, the Tristan Fuck you. I love it. You and Pierce Morgan, you guys got the best.
I won't even charge you a copyright fee.
I'll ask first. All right, man. Thank you so much, man. It was fun. It was fun. And thank you for the answers to the questions. They were really good. And I think,
Thanks for the question, man.
if we change one person, man, it's a big deal. Hope to see you soon.
It was worth doing it. Bye.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.